Okay, Will, welcome. Basically what I want to do today is go through your level 2, and the main thing is the rifle safety aspect of it, the rifle handling. So we're going to get the rifle out of the vehicle. So this vehicle has got lockable cabinets. Obviously if you're carrying it in your own vehicle, the main thing is that you carry it out of sight and not obvious to the public. Certainly whenever you're transporting a rifle in a vehicle, there should be nothing in the rifle. So the key thing is there's no ammunition and no bolt with that rifle. That's kept completely separately in a separate bag, and if I needed to leave this rifle in this vehicle, then I'd lock it away in here, lock the vehicle, and I'd take the ammunition and bolt with me. And then that's just a useless bit of steel as far as anybody else is concerned. And also, if you're travelling with a rifle in a vehicle, if you've got the bolt and ammunition separate, if you've got an accident and somebody else has to deal with this, as soon as they open it up, they can see it's completely safe. Whenever you're travelling in a vehicle, keep the bolt out. And the other thing that a lot of us will stalk on our own, but when you're doing your level 2, you will have a witness with you.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be absolutely 100% safety conscious, and it's a bit different when you've got somebody else with you than when you're sort of on your own. So we're going to get this rifle ready to go stalking, and then away we go. So we're just going to get this rifle out. Again, you can see it's clear, I can see it's clear because there's no bolt in there. We know it's empty, but it's always worth just checking that there's nothing in the barrel there. So there's no obstruction in the barrel.
Yeah, that's clear.
Whenever we handle a rifle, just be conscious of where that is pointing. We know it's empty, but it's still not nice to look down the barrel of a rifle.
It should be instinctive, shouldn't it?
Absolutely, and we call it muzzle awareness. Just be conscious of where that is pointing at all times. And the key thing, as far as I'm concerned as your witness, is that you never point that at me.
Yeah.
Otherwise you will fail. So we're just going to get the rifle ready. I'll just run through the operation of this rifle with you because it's probably a little bit different from your own.
Yeah.
In terms of operating the bolt, straightforward and down. Safety is at the back here, and that's safe. And then to fire, you've got a little button on top. You've got to press that and push it forward, and then that's ready to fire. Or you can open the bolt just by pressing that button on top. Press that button, and you can pull the bolt back without touching the safety catch. So again, completely empty, bolt open. We're just going to load a few rounds in the magazine. When in company, following on behind you, just keep me informed of what state the rifle is in at all points. So I'm going to close that bolt, but it's completely empty and it's unsafe. So you've got two options in terms of carrying a rifle, but the key thing is that the muzzle is either vertical up or vertical down. How do you normally carry yours?
Like that. My rifle's quite light with a heavy moderator, so it just tends to slip back. So I've got a sling that wraps around my body and keeps it angled that way for that reason.
There's a key thing that I see quite a lot of the time when I'm assessing level 2s is because I'm directly behind them, like heavy moderator, and it starts to do that, and before long, well, I don't look down the barrel, but I'd grab the barrel and I push it back up. But if you're going to carry it like this, just be conscious that it will do that. The other option is to carry it muzzle down. Yeah. And certainly if you've got somebody directly behind you, that is a better option. I do a lot of stalking like that, although now I've got a dog which will accompany me, then it's pointing at a dog, so I'm carrying it up again. So again, you need to be adaptable. Yeah. In terms of how you carry the rifle, again, the option is yours, but just be conscious of where that barrel is pointing. In terms of what condition you carry that rifle in, what state, whether it's loaded or loaded, how would you normally carry it when you're stalking?
When I'm on my own, the rifle will be loaded, but with the safety on.
Okay. Well, again, that's perfectly acceptable, and we might do that in this situation because there's a lot of munty around, and potentially you might not get a shot at the munty unless you have got a round chambered. Increasingly, I'm carrying mine underloaded. Yeah. So basically with the bolt closed and the magazine clipped underneath, and I don't find that I'm losing that many deer or not getting a chance on that many deer because I've got to load it in the meantime. Yeah. And certainly from a safety angle, that is a lot safer because there's nothing in the chamber. And I said, now I've got a dog that comes with me, I will carry it muzzle up, unloaded or underloaded. Yeah. And then if I see a deer, quite often you'll spot one in the thermal, leave the dog behind, load up, and then stalk into the deer with a loaded rifle. So I'm sort of limiting the length of time that I've got a loaded rifle. Okay, so we'll get ready to go stalking. Again, whenever you pass a rifle to somebody, it's good. It's polite just to prove that it's empty. So that's empty, Will.
Clear,
control of the rifle. So we've got to an obstacle, we're going to have to climb over it.
So the rifle is underloaded, so I'll remove the magazine first of all. The muzzle to the ground, bolt open, and that's clear, Martin.
Thank you, yep. So the best option is for me to climb over the fence and then you'll just pass it to me. If you keep the rifle vertical like that, the bolt's going to stay open. I can see it's open, it's clear. All I've got to do is stand here and hold it. And then you can take charge of the rifle again. We'll just cross this obstacle together, but I'm going to make you cross the obstacle as though you were on your own.
So again, the rifle is underloaded, so I'd remove the magazine. There's nothing in the chamber there.
Yeah. So that's good, Will. The key thing is the rifle is completely unloaded as you cross an obstacle or climb an obstacle.
Back in, we're ready to go.
Straight over your shoulders, see exactly what you're looking at. We've spotted a deer out in the field here. This is the point I would actually load up, so if you want to load up safely. So again, the key thing is, which you've done there, is you point it into the soft earth. Yeah. So if there's any chance of a negligent discharge, we know exactly where that bullet has ended up. It's on safe.
It's on safe.
At this point, I would carry it muzzle down because it's a loaded rifle. Yep. And it's just that little bit safer, and I'm behind you.
The key thing here is we've got a good safe backstop behind the deer.
What are you actually counting as a backstop?
There's a solid rising mound of earth.
So solid earth is your only safe backstop really, so you need to make sure you've got plenty of that behind the deer. So as that bullet misses or if it exits the deer, then at least it's going to end up there rather than the nearest town. Okay, that deer is obligingly stood still, so do you want to get on your sticks and see if you can get a shot at it?
Okay, for this next section we've completely unloaded the rifle, the magazine is in my hand, there's nothing in the chamber.
Push the sticks forward, walk into the sticks, so you can lift the rifle up and keep the barrel pointing down and then walk back. So the main thing here is you've got a good solid rest, you're happy, you've got a good stable shooting position. Yeah. There's nothing between the end of the barrel and the target, the deer. Then you've got a nice safe backstop and the deer is stood broadside on, so you've got a good shot into the chest. Yeah. You keep the finger off the trigger at all times until you're about to take a shot. And when you're about to take the shot, push the safety forward. One scenario is you get down on the rifle, you're just about to take the shot, you've taken the safety off and the deer moves. Yeah. The critical thing is that you put the safety on, as it were, before you move the rifle, so that you don't move the rifle with the safety off. So under what circumstances might you not take this shot, Will?
If I can't see what is behind the deer, if the deer is on the horizon, same again, you can't see what is directly behind the deer. If there are other people in the vicinity. That's
one good advantage of the thermal. You very quickly pick out if there's people in the area, even if they're not directly behind the deer, sort of off to an angle, then it's probably not worth taking the shot. Just a couple of more things we need to cover on the rifle safety aspect. One of the things that's going to happen when you're out stalking, whether you're on your own or being assessed in company, is you're going to bump into other people. You know, if you come across anybody whilst you're out stalking, unload the rifle and just prove it unloaded to them so that they're not at all worried about the state of your rifle. Yeah. You've been on a range, and one thing that they'll cover on a range is what happens if you have a misfire. You also need to know and follow that same procedure if you have a misfire in the field. Yeah. Most cases it's because you haven't actually chambered around. Yes. But it might not be.
You can never be sure.
You can't be sure, and you'll need to follow that same procedure when you're out in the field as well. So can you just run me through what you do with a misfire?
So the first thing is you wait, because if you try and remove the round from the chamber, there could be disastrous consequences. So you'd wait and give it a minute at least, and then remove the round if there is a round in there. Yeah. Like you say, most often it's the case that there is no round chambered.
Yeah. So if I was with you and you misfired when you're on the sticks, I would get to this side of you rather
Yeah.
than standing directly behind you, because again with a misfire, as you open that bolt and if the round goes pop, then the bolt's going to come flying back. So
Yeah.
I want to be directly behind. I don't want to be directly behind you, and similarly you want to be well away from it, and you very
Yeah.
quickly lift the bolt and just keep well away from it.
Yeah.
So far we've been talking about you as being the candidate for the level 2 and I'm the witness, where I've been walking behind you. For a lot of our members that come for their first experience of deer stalking, then the guide will go in front
Yeah.
and you'll walk behind the guide, in which case that's the preferred way of carrying a rifle,
Muzzle up.
with the muzzle up
Yeah.
and over the shoulder that way. So when I'm in front of you, if it does slip, it's not going to affect me. If it's muzzle down, then it might be pointing at my toes, and I don't really like that.
Are there any circumstances where you'd carry the rifle if you were walking in front?
I might do, and for all our members that come on the schemes, they would spend some time initially on the range, one to make sure that they can actually place the shots where we want them, but more importantly so we can assess their level of ability with the rifle.
Yeah.
And if we're all concerned, then we might carry the rifle, or we might go straight to a high seat and do a high seat session. So we sort of assess that initially, and based on how we feel about them carrying a rifle. But in most circumstances, they'll carry the rifle and they'll just follow on behind, and we'll sort of guide them into it. I might carry the sticks in that case.
So you can then set them
And then
up.
I'd set the sticks up,
Yeah.
and then you would come forward, place the rifle on the sticks, load the round and take the shot.
Okay.
We're going to try that now, so I'll be the guide, I'll be in front, you follow on behind, and I'll take the sticks, and we'll go to a seat and we'll practice going in and out of the high seat.
Okay.
Unsuccessful this time, Will, but that's stalking, I'm afraid.
That's it. That's it.
Right, let's put that rifle away. Magazine out, bolt out.
That's clear.
Thank you. All empty, thank you very much. So we'll take the moderator off.
If you were guiding a client and they didn't have a moderator on, what other safety gear would you expect them to have?
Well, I would wear ear defenders, and I'd expect them to have ear defenders as well. An unmoderated rifle is going to damage your ears. On the range, where we've just spent putting a lot of shots through a rifle at the same time, even with a mod on, I'd wear ear defenders.
Yeah.
So again, the bolt and the ammunition will go in a separate compartment of the car from the rifle.
If you didn't have these lockable compartments and you were stopping for fuel or stopping off at a friend's house, for example, would you take the bolt and the ammunition in with you?
Yeah, so I've got a simple little pouch, and the ammunition and bolt will sit in there quite nicely, and I can carry that with me and nobody knows what I'm carrying. And then the rifle stays in the vehicle locked away. Okay, Will, so we've covered the sort of the rifle safety aspects of the level 2. Hopefully you're sort of clear on what you need to do as part of your level 2 now. You got any other questions?
No, not from me, but if anybody watching has any further questions, how do they get in touch?
Well, obviously look at the BASC website, so we've got some excellent resources on there, and we've got the code of practice, but also I'd recommend people look at the Deer Initiative best practice guides, which cover a whole range of aspects of deer management and deer stalking, including rifle safety.
And they're available online.
They're all available online.